Hi guys, so a quick video on rest periods and why we have certain rest periods for certain goals within your training. So I know sometimes, say the rest is quite high, you might feel like you don't need it necessarily. So you're not really sweaty, you're not out of breath. Why do I need to rest? I can just jump back into my next set. In particular with strength training, this is quite common. So you've got different systems we're using, like your energy systems. They all work together to a degree, but the focus you have in your training will dictate how much of one is the primary user, okay? So you've got your phosphate. So this is really hard, high efforts. So like 10 seconds of work, the rest is gonna be really high as well. So in the kind of 2, sometimes up to 5 minute range. The reason being, so it's not necessarily muscular at all, so you won't feel like you've got a build up of that lactic acid, you're not super out of breath, but your brain has your motor control, so like the system that gets your body to do a certain movement, and we're looking there to recruit as much motor patterns as possible. So basically we're trying to recruit as much strength that we've got in our body and as much muscle fibers as we can to do a certain movement, and that takes quite a lot to recover from. It's more of like a central nervous system thing, so you won't necessarily feel like you need it, but you definitely do if your goal is this high effort. So in particular, like a testing week, when you're doing like 1 rep maxes, you need that minimum 2 minutes, all right? Bleeding into there, you've got your glycolytic system. So this is more kind of moderate effort, still fairly heavy as well. So in particular, we look at this as like muscle building, a little bit of strength endurance as well. So slightly less rest, slightly less weight, but it's still quite a tough load. Anywhere from, I would say, like 6 to 12 reps is usually what we use here. This is about 1:30 to 2 minutes. So you get that slight focus now on accumulating more fatigue with that minimal rest, all right? So it's more like your lactic acid is building up. You're trying to essentially break down muscle tissue here to then build adaptation and build more muscle over time or over like a training block. It could be as well, you base it on like machine work. It's like that 90-second AMRAP, 2-minute AMRAP, and you get that 1 to 2 minute off. It's high but repeatable output with increasing fatigue. So you're teaching that adaptation of that threshold pace and slowly bump it up. Oxidative, so this is like the lowest effort in terms of these three. Looking at this like muscular endurance, so over that 12 rep mark if we're looking strength training, in the kind of 15 to 20s, all right? This is that kind of 90 seconds onwards of work. It might be a little bit less in terms of like gymnastics, for example, but in like the strength world, it's that kind of 60, 90 second set with 30 to 60 seconds rest. So the load is going to be much less. It ties into that hypertrophy post we did a while back, where we look at fatiguing more kind of sarcoplasm. So it's more of the build-up of byproduct than it is the weight, but that's still a really good training tool. That's like the base. You get really good at handling volume, handling reps. That's going to bleed into this is going to bleed into that, and they all work slightly together. But when you're focusing on a certain system, be really strict with your rest times. So try not to just like fly through your sets because you want to get it done. You'll probably find then that will be more about this and vice versa. If you cut your rest in your muscle building focus and you're not using that effort scale, you'll probably end up being more of an endurance focus. So it just gives you a bit of an idea that the rests aren't there just because they are there for a reason, so we can target different systems in different ways over a training cycle.